Welcome everybody. Steve, you're a little out of frame. There we go. Perfect. Welcome everybody. MidLyfe Gaming Podcast, episode 7. Thank you all for being here with us. As always, this is Archie, and my good friend Steve here is with us as well. How's it going, Steve?
Hello. How's it going, Archie? I'm good. Good. I'm good, man. Very good. Happy to
Good, good.
be here. Another fun week of gaming, right?
Another fun week. We actually had some good news articles this week, unlike the last two ones where it was kind of a dry spell on gaming news. But seems we got some good content this time. So whenever you're ready, we can go ahead and dive right into it.
Yeah, let's go ahead. What do we got up first, buddy?
Up first, we have Outriders is coming to Game Pass at launch. Now, previously, I believe it was last week, we had talked about how the Bethesda buyout by Microsoft was one that was definitely a strong move for American audiences. But it seemed like they had an in into a Japanese audience um, through one of the sub developers that's underneath ZeniMax, which was the company that was bought out that owns Bethesda. One of the comments that we both agreed upon was that while this other developer, Tango Gameworks, was a possible in to this environment that Microsoft can't seem to get a grasp in, get a foothold in, it wasn't a very strong footing. And you had made a comment that it would take something along the likes of Square Enix partnership to really get the ball moving. And this isn't a typical Square Enix title, but it is a Square Enix title nonetheless. So for those of you that don't know, Outriders is a RPG slash, um, we'll just say shooter because that's the best
Yeah, looter
similarity
shooter.
to draw. Yeah, a looter shooter. Um, that Square Enix is making with the same people. I think like People Can Fly is the actual dev group, and they're responsible for Bulletstorm, old 360 game. And I don't know, a day one Game Pass, which has only been confirmed for console, not for PC yet, if ever. A day one Game Pass release being confirmed with Square Enix, that's kind of a big deal, wouldn't you agree?
It's a huge deal. And if you remember when we were actually talking about Outriders, because I showed up in on our radar last week as well,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I said was that the audience is really going to kind of determine how long that game sticks around, being that it needs it's a game as a service, so it has to have an audience in order to survive. You look at Anthem, that's why that game died. It just didn't have the audience. But this definitely helps them. I think that I mean that a lot of people like myself who haven't even downloaded the demo, they'll see a full free game and be like, "Oh man, it looks kind of like Destiny." Even just that alone, the cover art of having like the three heroes on the cover, just that alone is going to be enough to get some people to play it. Just because there's a lot of people who move from game to game with their co-op clans or their group of friends, whatever the case
Right.
is. So having a big game like this be day one on Game Pass, you don't even have to pay for it. That's a huge thing. Surprised that it's not coming to the Xbox Game Pass PC, or at least based off this article, it says it hasn't been confirmed.
Right.
That would be rare because I haven't seen. Maybe it's because it's not a Xbox published game. Might be why there's a little bit of a sticky situation there. And I believe too, is this the one? I can't remember if I've seen them in the Steam store or not, or if they have that Epic Game Store kind of exclusives. That might be a reason as well. Off the top of my head, I don't know the facts. So if you guys know the answer, feel free to fact check this.
Oh,
But
they're in Steam. Yeah, the beta is live in Steam.
okay, good. So yeah, I honestly I wouldn't know. That would be the only reason why I can think is that for the publisher, they don't want to take away all their additional revenue that you can get from the PC market, because really PC market seems to kind of rally around these games as service games more than the console market. The consoles are pretty set on their Call of Duty and their Fortnite, at the moment. And then I can't think. I mean, Rocket League's pretty huge on consoles too,
Yeah.
but on PC, just because of how large the audience is, obviously here in the US, but also overseas, a lot of those games end up being massive hits beyond what like World of Warcraft is a sleeper hit. Like a lot of people don't think about it because it's on PC and it's not on console, but really I would think it probably has more weekly players than Destiny, and probably a few other of these games as a service games. But
Oh,
yeah, all that said,
absolutely. Especially with like the classic version being out there now. Yeah, there's
yeah,
huge audience.
yeah. So all that said, it's a great thing. I mean, obviously, it's good for gamers to have that way to just jump right in without having to pay. So hopefully, it's a good game. That's all
Yeah,
I can say.
one of my concerns is that it might not, because it's not going to be on uh console and on PC Game Pass, is I wonder if that is going to hurt our future chances of crossplay, because like you said, the audience is what determines if games as a service survive or not.
Yeah,
So for a game to at the very least draw a line between something that's already been proven to be easily achievable, to merge both your console and your PC audiences together, and that would also help on server uh, limitations, I would imagine, as well. So it's just kind of a weird distinction to make, given the fact that all the technology is there, all of the willfulness is there. Square Enix doesn't owe anyone anything, so they
yeah,
can do whatever they want. So not going that extra step to go, hey, we're already stepping foot into the console day one. Why not just step into the PC world day one? And I don't know what the background is for why they wouldn't. It could be something very technical that's way above our our thought patterns. It could be something very server related or something along those lines. But it's also not confirmed to not be on Game Pass. So it's just kind of been like
yeah,
it was specifically stated for one, so it probably isn't coming for the other type situation.
yeah. We'll see. I'm interested to see because there is a different library sometimes between Game Pass and the console.
Oh yeah.
Occasionally, there's not a ton of differences, at least when it comes to Microsoft stuff
Hmm.
published wise. I would say I think I made that video when it first came out, like 2016. So everything that's come out since then, Microsoft wise, has always come out on Game Pass PC as well. So, but this isn't published by them, so it's a little tricky. They have a what's interesting, and I'm surprised this article didn't really speak about it, but Microsoft has had a good working relationship with Square Enix. If you remember as well, Crystal Dynamics is underneath Square. They're the company that recently brought the Avengers game out, but also they're responsible for all of the Tomb Raider games, which the first one was exclusive to Xbox One for a period of time. So they've always had a good working relationship with Square Enix. I think Square is kind of big enough to where they don't need to be bought by somebody, but having that little bit of exclusivity payout money here and there when they try out kind of new thing. The thing about Tomb Raider wasn't that it was a new idea. Is unfortunately in the gaming industry, a lot of people have had this misconception that a female-led game won't sell well. So maybe that's why they took that exclusivity deal to begin with. But I mean, since then you've had that game, you've had Horizon Zero Dawn, Alien Isolation, just three AAA 10 out of 10 games in my opinion that have come out. But that's kind of getting off the beaten point. But anyway, the point there was that Xbox has had a good relationship with Square. So
Yeah, and their relationship has definitely been something that has evolved significantly over the last, ooh, I don't know, like when did that first Tomb Raider come out for Xbox One? Like 20,
mm,
what, 16? 2015?
that's the cool thing about Google. We can find
We
out.
can just pull it right up. Um
Uh, okay, not that easily because Tomb Raider's been rebooted like three times.
1800 times.
Yeah,
Either way, though, so I mean, they got that exclusivity deal, and one of the titles that or series that they've held,
2014.
2014. Okay, so
Yeah,
it's like obviously that's a good number of years back, but in the world of business and business markets, that's not a huge amount of time to do what has happened between Microsoft and Square Enix. Final Fantasy has been a title that from what was it, like Final Fantasy, I think 5, like American Final Fantasy 5 took place on PlayStation 1. I might be wrong. It might be 6. Took place on PlayStation 1, and Sony has had their hands on this series since that point in time until I think what 15 Well, no, 11 came out on Xbox 360, the MMO one, where they were trying to. That was kind of like the earliest beginnings of cross-platform play.
Yeah.
Was Final Fantasy 11, their MMO one, but like mainline series, it didn't truly happen until 15, and now you can go all the way back to Final Fantasy 7, arguably one of the best RPGs ever, and you can play it on Game Pass right now today. Download it, play it, do whatever you want, and it's just wild that we've seen this day where they've come full circle on getting uh that type of relationship where they can go, hey, you know what, maybe we're not going to release our key things only on PlayStation. How about we release Kingdom Hearts 3, the one that people have been waiting for years and years and years on the Xbox One as well. And
Yeah.
People bought it in droves. It was a great seller, and it proved to Square Enix that, hey, maybe this whole like we only partner with Sony because they're also Japanese thing isn't that great for business. Maybe we open it up. They opened up and bam, done. I mean, ever since then, Sony has kind of been. I mean, if you see the writing on the walls for them, and we'll probably talk about this later in a further topic today, but Sony has kind of been on the decline in their own software side. So I don't know. I hope that this is not a takeover, like the beginnings of a takeover. Like we're gonna look back in this in 5 years and go, "Oh, this
Yeah.
is the flag where Microsoft bought Square Enix, and that was the end of it." I don't want it to be that. And Microsoft seems to be pretty open about, yeah, we want it to be best on Xbox, but we want you to be able to play wherever you want to play. Sony's just not been on that same page though.
Yeah. I don't think we'll see a full takeover, but I think what's happening in the industry is just that the market has gotten so big that these companies can't even afford console exclusives anymore. Like you can make them yourself, but you can't go out and buy exclusivity from anyone anymore. You can do it on PC because it's a little easier. Like the companies aren't scared about it because it's like, oh, Epic's going to pay us enough that it doesn't matter. You know, that makes up our PC sales. But on the consoles, they're still a little scared to go fully that way. But
Yeah, because
yeah, I mean,
exclusivity on PC is still on PC. Like it's
yeah, you're
Steam
still
or
gonna get the
Epic.
sale.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
still gonna get the sale.
you're
I
not
don't have to
walled
buy a
off the way
different
with hardware.
PC for it.
Yeah, but cool, man. We'll keep an eye on this one.
Yep, we
Eventually,
definitely
we'll play it,
will.
especially when it's out on PC. If it does come to Game Pass and it's like a definite, that I'll download and check it out.
I'm probably gonna download the demo probably sometime this week, if not tomorrow, and then I'll let you and the guys know how I
You
feel
do
about it.
that. Yeah, you do that.
All right, let's go to the next topic here.
So we got more Switch Pro evidence coming out. This is thanks to NVIDIA. We've got some specs that have leaked from some of the NVIDIA parts, which is usually how these things leak out a lot. If it's not the GPU manufacturer, it's usually going to be some type of accessory maker who has shown off like some new type of Joy-Con, some new type of happens with phone cases all the time. It's like a
Yep.
case that leaks, and that's how they figure out like, oh, okay, now it's got this type camera, all that good shit. But yeah, this is interesting. We've debated this on prior episodes before, and I think we kind of came to the conclusion Nintendo really could do whatever they want. They could release a Pro and it would sell gangbusters, or they could wait and it would sell gangbusters. But the only thing that for me is that it makes sense if they are trying to capitalize on the holiday market of 2021, which this absolutely could be. If we're getting this type of stuff already, then it shows they're already into the manufacturing process. So getting them all strapped up and booted, ready for a holiday release. They've got the entirety of the rest of the year to do that. So that would help them have at least a little bit of stock to fulfill during the holidays. And they could still, they could still sell the regular Switch. Maybe the regular Switch gets some type of price cut, maybe $50, maybe $100, which I don't see 100 happening because the Switch Lite's what,
Yeah, it's
199.
already at such a great price point. I mean, like 50
Yeah,
bucks would honestly be, I think, the best
yeah.
price cut I
So
could imagine.
yeah, and there's a world where they don't even have to price cut the regular Switch. They, a parent look and says, okay, well, I've got the Switch Lite, but they can't connect that to the TV from when we want to play family night type shit. So let me move up to the Switch, and then you've got the gamer like you and me who's like, okay, hey, I want the best version of that I can get. this Pro has this upgrade GPU, it's got an updated screen to where it's 1080p now, and it's $100 more. So there is a world where they've got that 199, 299, and the 399 thing going.
Right.
Still cheaper than, well, yeah, still cheaper than the new Xbox, the Xbox Series X and the PS5 Pro. So it still kind of fits that Nintendo motto or logic of coming in underneath the other guys and doing something different.
Oh yeah.
So I can still see this going either way. I mean, and there's always the world too where they're just doing prototype stuff, but there has been such a leap in the tech when you think about like what the 3090 series or like the 30 series has done on computers. So there's been a big leap in GPU tech. So it could have just been the right timing for, hey, we can get 4 times the performance out of this new chip without even a huge cost increase and release a new model, help our stocks out at the end of the year, coming into Q1. So yeah, I could see it happening.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening too. I'm still holding out on my initial idea that if we ever see another, I don't really like the Switch Pro name because it doesn't fall in line with Nintendo's like name theology, I guess.
Switch XL,
Yeah, Switch XL would probably be more likely, or just following
Switch
the
Plus.
the Switch I, following the DS line.
Yeah,
Just something along those lines. But I still don't think we're gonna see. We might hear about it this year, like get confirmed, Nintendo Direct, something along those lines. But I still don't think that there's going to be hardware in hands until 2022.
right.
Um, I
We'll
mean,
see.
we're still currently struggling with the whole, silicone shortage. Everyone's trying to make new things, and even car makers are struggling to get it for their vehicles. Um, I don't think that we're gonna see this until at least those supply chains can get, unwrinkled and get figured out pretty quickly. Um, but for what I thought that the stats would be on it, I think that the I don't know. I think the sweet point, like the middle point for them, would be uh something along the lines of like a mixture of the Switch Lite and the Switch Heavy, whatever you want to call it now, the normal one. Um, because my wife has the Switch Lite. She's got the yellow one that we got her. I think it was like a month or two after it came out. We got her the yellow Switch Lite. And there are definitely times where she's like, "Oh, I just want to plug it into the TV and whatnot," and then it doesn't fit in the dock, and it obviously doesn't have the capability to do it. It just that
Yeah,
part of the USB driver is not built out, so it's physically not possible unless through some weird hackery software fix. I'm sure someone out there has figured it out, but with a stock one, you can't do that type of thing. So I think maybe they blend the two, because this X1 chip, this Tegra X1, is responsible for the heavy lifting and graphical pulling of both the Switch and the Switch Lite. So if we're killing both of those, then that means we have to have an answer to both of them. So
yeah. I don't think they would ever kill it. I think it would be another member of the family, just like another SKU, and that would probably be another thing to probably motivate them as well. Kind of in this pandemic
right,
time, is that, well, not to motivate them, but the thing that would keep them from having as much risk is, hey, we could do a limited manufacturing run, just because we don't know how this is going to play out, being that it's a pro model. I think Nintendo, they have such good grace with gamers, so that anything they put out is going to be gold. I can't remember like the last Nintendo flop other than the actual Wii U, which a lot of that I still think wasn't down to the console. That was down to consumer confusion, to be honest. Like just
yeah, oh,
a
yeah,
name change probably would have been enough for that to take off, because that really was, I mean, like the earliest prototype of the Switch.
yeah.
Hey, you've got this handheld console, and you can play it. You can play it sitting down right here to attach to your TV, or you can watch it on the TV. But um, yeah, I mean, we could debate it again all over again. But either
Until we
way,
actually get something, because the rumors are all over the place for this thing. It's like, oh, it's gonna render 4K on your handheld, and it's like, no, your battery would
yeah,
die
it'll
in
do
like 30
1080p.
minutes on that. And then even the 1080p thing is still kind of up in the air, because there are patents that involve a recent purchase of a specific 7-inch Samsung OLED that can only push itself at 720p. So if we're going to take all these things and meld them together, it's some of the stats just don't line up right, and that's just how it's going to be until we get some concrete evidence from either some type of filing with the FCC, or even the patent office is where a lot of leaks tend to happen sometimes, or like you said, a case manufacturer is going to go, ooh, here's this thing that we have, it's going to be this size, here's the CAD drawings we got for it from Nintendo directly, and stuff like that leaks out all the time. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on this and try not to annoy everybody with 18 million updates of the Switch Pro, quote quote.
The Switch.
The Switch XL. What if we got like a if they just like blew the lid off of everything and they're like, yeah, here's a DS version of the Switch, and it's just like two Switches duct taped together. This is our prototype right now.
Oh man, I liked the DS when they first came out, but it was a different time. Like nobody wants to claim design anymore. But
no,
I actually really loved that design when it first came out.
Man, I remember I used to sneak. My parents bought me the first DS that year that it came out, and anytime they would leave the house, I would absolutely sneak into their closet, pull the box down, and like surgically peel the tape off of the seal and everything, and like fully play it and charge it. And then about 10 minutes before they get home, I close it, undo it, wrap it all back up, and just closely put the tape back down and chuck it up in the closet. I had to have logged at least 20 hours into that thing before it was even, mine.
That's funny.
Oh man. All right. So yeah, enough about the Switch. Let's move along here and go to E3 news. We had just talked about E3. Yeah, exactly. Bleh. We had just talked about E3 last week, about how there were rumors that it wasn't even going to happen because the Expo Hall came out with their public calendar and there were no fillings around the time or at all for the who is it that runs E3? The Entertainment Software Association. They didn't have any listings on there at all. So it was believed that because of that, there was no expo. Well, now there's kind of some information about it, but even then it's still like an old tweet with some people kind of making comments along it on the side, like actual showrunners. And I don't know, man. I don't know if you can come back from, because they were already on the decline. Sony had already been out since, I think 2018 was their last one. They did not show up on 2019. They didn't even have floor space in 2019. Like, it's one thing to not do your keynote there, because like Nintendo doesn't really do that. They do their whole treehouse thing, and it's not really on site, but they still have a floor presence at the expo hall. Sony didn't even have a floor presence. They went hard on PSVR in like 2018, where you could load up your PlayStation and be there in virtual reality, and then they just ghosted E3 after that. And I don't know, man. It's not looking great for them. They claim, so here's what the initial thought is. So there, and I took some notes here. It's expected to be around June 15th to the 17th. It's going to be a first day. This was all a pitched idea by the ESA. First day is going to be a media preview, whatever that means. And then it's going to be followed by 3 days of live streams. And the live streams would consist of keynote speeches from industry leaders along with an awards show. I don't recall E3 ever having actual awards. Like, there's always like the best of E3s, but were those ever like made official by E3 themselves? That was always just like a news, like every news outsource and thing like that had their own E3 awards, but I don't think E3 themselves had one.
They've had an E3's judges panel, which is always made up of like industry professionals, and those are the guys who give out the best of E3, which usually just ends up being, goes on the website or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of interesting because it answered a question that I thought to myself as you were kind of reading this news out, which was, so the big thing about this, obviously, the E3 Association, they're getting a little desperate because this isn't something they do for fun. It's revenue. They need the money. They need basically the money.
Yeah.
Everything else doesn't matter. It's the money. And being that it's not a physical event, being that it's digital, you say to yourself, well, yes, E3 is big, but we're just as big. We're who bring the people to E3. People come to E3 to see what games get announced, and we can get just as much buzz outside for most companies. But it's about just being there. It's like people who show up at the red carpets at the Grammys who aren't nominated for anything, but they still show up. It's just a big thing to be there. The problem that you run into now, though, is like, okay, E3, obviously, they would charge people still to be a part of whatever their presentation is, whatever the format is that they're thinking of. Um, but a company could easily say, well, we just run our own little thing at the exact same time as E3 without paying them anything, and just being around the buzz of that will get us some type of notoriety. But then you got to the award ceremony piece, and I guarantee you the reason that there's now an award ceremony is because you have to you have to guarantee some type of money. So the way you do that,
Right.
same way the Video Game Awards does with Jeff Keighley, sponsorship. Okay, hey, this award is sponsored by BioWare for best narrative, and this one's sponsored by EA and G Fuel. So you're going to see a lot of sponsorship. Maybe it won't be that obnoxious as it's like in all of the announcements and stuff, but that's the reason the award show got tacked on. Just one way to guarantee you're going to get some revenue. Just have some type of sponsorship, for that.
Yeah.
So hey, smart guys. I mean, if it works out. In
Yeah.
chat, want to
But it
really quick
also,
acknowledge.
go for it.
Yeah, we had Tom asking me a couple while back. Sorry, I missed that question. He asked me if I was going to get Game Pass again for Outriders. Probably not again. A live service game. If I'm getting it for that, I'm probably just going to end up buying it outright because I don't want to have to be tied to that $15 a month for a year, and I've paid for the game 3 times during that. So I'll
Hey,
probably just
or
buy
you
it
can
outright
convert your
because
Xbox Live for $1 a month.
yeah, or do that.
People still do
And then
that.
also, yeah, also Eric in chat, one of my buddies from the Helicopter Project, makes awesome liveries. Thank you very much, Eric. He actually, me and Jordan are both from the Tampa Bay area,
Mhm.
and Eric made a Tampa Police Department one of their
Oh,
commemorative helicopter skins. So real cool,
that's awesome. Appreciate that,
yeah,
Eric. Thanks.
good guy.
So back to the E3 thing. I feel like the award show though, because Jeff Keighley, he's not new to the video game awards, obviously, but he has only been separated from E3 since what, 2019, I think was his last, like and it was not a very nice separation. Like it wasn't, drag people through the dirty, but he was just like, listen, they want to be dumb about it, so let them be dumb about it. I'm going to go over here with the video award people, and we're going to do our own thing over here.
Yeah,
And it almost feels like it's in retaliation to the success that the Summer Games Show had last year, because it was very successful. Microsoft did the first full Xbox Series X like reveal stats breakdown walkthrough on Summer Games last year. So, and they're planning to do another one this year.
yeah,
They're not settling down. They're like, cool. Hey, we did this thing. It was great. We're gonna do it again. Let's see how it
yeah.
goes.
That's the benefit that that dude has. He's extremely lucky. Like if you watch his history, like I even in the Half-Life Alex game, they had
Mm-hmm.
like the behind the scenes thing, and it showed like how far he went back. And he was just a college kid that reached out to Valve, and they're like, "Yeah, you can come in and watch us make this game." And ever since then, he's just always kind of positioned himself close to developers, so the developers have his back when it comes to these things. We're like, "Hey, we have to decide. We need a demo build by X, Y, Z. We've got to put a trailer together. Do we want to do that for the video game awards? Do we want to do that for E3?" Like he has a lot of persuasion to like, hey, you need to show up to where I'm at. I'm going to take care of you guys, and that helps. So I think that
Yeah.
I'm sure what happened last year with the breakup was that they wanted to do something probably like a pay for type thing. I'm sure like, hey, pay to get a virtual ticket or some shit like that. He's like, nah, people aren't going to sign up for that. I can do it without that. Can get sponsors, can do all the advertising, and we can still make money. And they weren't for it. And I'm sure,
That's
kind
that's
of,
an interesting point too about the buying the virtual ticket thing, because I believe that year that he left was when Blizzard, who does BlizzCon, and they do sell virtual tickets to
Yeah.
watch their stuff. Uh, they hit like a record sale that year, I believe. Maybe not like the top record, but it was not an amount of money to sneeze at. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of a big deal. So I do wonder if that was if that's, you know, probably what was going through their mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm 99% sure that's what it came down to, because there's no other reason for them to break up other than, hey, I don't like the kind of the mindset you have about this. I'm gonna go off and do my own thing. But yeah, I mean, E3 is becoming pretty irrelevant. Like, I don't even like the whole cycle of it. It's kind of gotten a little obnoxious. Like, I live tweeted last year when not last year, but the last year we had at E3, and even
Mhm.
that is obnoxious. Like, okay, every 5 seconds, oh man, I'm so hyped for this. Okay, move off to the side. Next thing,
I'm so hyped for this other thing now.
Yeah, like it. And I mean, you do get hype for it all, but you don't get any time to actually digest it. I think what Sony did that year when they kind of took everyone into the different, like, okay, hey, here's our Last of Us set, and we're gonna, get the theme, kind of the tone set for you guys, tell you all about the narrative. Here's some gameplay. Here you can talk to the developers for 15 minutes. Like, I wish everyone kind of did that. Like, it's hard for developers to all kind of coordinate. Like, hey, I don't want to step on your toes for your big thing, because they all want the same thing. They all want
Right.
their own
They want their
hype
own
cycle.
time span. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just they can't coordinate together because you have to keep shit secret too, So,
Yeah.
but it's becoming less and less relevant, especially with I think once high speed internet is available to everyone, like blazing fast without the caps and all that kind of stuff, it'd
Starlink,
be
let's
even
go.
yeah, it'd be even less irrelevant, or even yeah, it'd be even less relevant then, because people, it's like, okay, yeah, you can hear about it, but here it's also in your hands now, because that's the
Right.
big pull of E3 for people that go there in person, is being able to walk the show floor and actually play a lot of the stuff that us people at home are only seeing on YouTube videos.
Yeah, and I will commend Sony for doing that. Is the last, so not the last time they were there, because you had brought it up where they did like this whole scene change. They did what, like 5 games that year. It was cool in one aspect, but in the other aspect, it was like, okay, but like, what else are you doing? These are all things that we
Oh,
already knew about. Uh, it's not. I mean, they could have spent that much time, but it felt like they were spending too much time per title. Because I'm pretty confident it was only 5 games, and they had already talked about them. There was no actual like new stuff. There was some
well,
new video
Last of
for,
Us was definitely new shit.
yeah,
They had a
Last of Us
lot.
2 was a lot of new content shared, but the
Yeah,
game was already known and they had already shared some stuff here and there. For it
yeah,
to be like their headliner, I don't know. It was a great game. I've watched several people play it. I didn't play it myself because I'm not, I have my PS4, but it's kind of sitting over there collecting dust a little bit.
yeah. I
um,
got the pro, so
but
I was blown
I'll
away by it.
commend Sony though for how they used to operate inside of E3, which was they. I remember when PSVR came out, they were like, "Yeah, hang out in our booth. We have cameras set up everywhere. You can walk around in our booth if you have PSVR, and even if you don't, there's still this other app that we have on your PlayStation that you can go and just like walk around with a controller, do whatever." And they always released demos with their announcements. So they would announce, a great game. I'm trying to think what the last big one was. It was something by Dice. I don't remember. But they had a game. They had just announced it on the Sony stage, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, demos live right now." And it was great. It was a great feeling because then you felt like you were part of the E3 experience, which is what they were trying to push. E3 was trying to push as a whole was the E3
Yeah,
experience, because they know that they can't get everybody that wants to be there in there, especially not now.
yeah,
But even back then, it was just, even with the amount of people that they do bring in, it's still a logistical nightmare to get everybody, whether you're part of the press, part of the development world, part of the publisher world, part of the industry world, or you're just a fan going there. It's not an easy venue to get into and out of.
Speaking of experiences, Eric in chat said that, hey, did you guys see the presentation of MK11 on E3? I was there and my heart exploded with joy. That sounds very exciting, Eric. Congratulations for you. Always wanted to go to E3, haven't been yet. Actually, I haven't been to a single gaming convention, but one of these days I will go. And probably for something like that, just being able to see your favorite game kind of be announced. I think for me, that probably would have been when they finally announced Kingdom Hearts 3. That was probably the biggest joy I've had of a gamer as a gamer from
Oh yeah.
a gaming announcement. I can't think of anything else recently. Probably Andromeda 2 when that came out, but yeah, by the time Andromeda actually was released, though, it got so toxic. I was like, I didn't know what to
Yeah,
expect.
pass.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent game, but that was just man. This new one, we'll see. They are definitely teasing very hard that that Shepard's team at least is coming back, and there's a lot of creative ways they could do that.
Yeah, there are definitely a couple of different roads they could go down.
Yeah,
But knowing them, they'll pick the wrong one. And hope
yeah, like
well, I take that back because they have been very upfront about it this time, and they've been very, I don't know, I won't say tongue in cheek because that's not the right word, but similar to
yeah.
how Andromeda was handled. So I don't know. I like we're buying the remake for um current gen for the original trilogy. So we're definitely still supporting BioWare because we've been playing BioWare games for God, who knows? It was actually one of the first games that my wife and I bonded over. So
Oh,
it's the brand we appreciate. Their current
yeah,
owners, no, no, not a fan.
yeah,
But I have hope that they are willing to stand on their own 2 feet and stand up to, the big guy in the chair upstairs that I always like to refer to when they start asking them to do stupid shit.
yeah. I understand. Last question before we move on. So we got one in chat from Eric. Do you guys think God of War is coming to PC? My vote would be
Ooh.
no because you've got to keep some tentpole franchises on the Xbox or sorry, the PlayStation. I would say God of War and Last of Us will never come. Well, God of War, Last of Us, and Spider Man will never come to PC. Everything else I say is fair game because they get a little bit extra revenue. They get a little bit more of that notoriety. Like my friend Batfish, who's in chat sometimes, he wanted to play Horizon so badly. Same thing with Breath of the Wild. Wanted to play it so badly. It's right up his alley. Open world RPG game. Lots of good combat, lots of good mechanics for building up your character. And it was locked behind Sony's, paywall of, hey, I got to buy a whole another console just to get to that. Whereas now it came out on PC, he bought it, and I'm sure. I mean, if you look at the Steam reviews, they're all overwhelmingly positive. Same with Detroit Become Human. Came out on PC,
Yep.
another game that got a ton of exposure. And the thing about those games are they're niche, so people want them, and they don't necessarily. They're not going to appear to everybody on the console. So you get a little bit extra sales by bringing it over to PC. Whereas God of War is always going to sell just on being God of War because it's got such a history behind it. Last of Us is such a big mainstream title now, and there's a little argument there too that Horizons was such a was a big title, but that was a big success. It wasn't a big franchise for them. It's a good franchise for them now. Like it's definitely a game that brings in revenue, but it's not a console seller. Um, God of War is a console seller. Spider Man is a console seller, and what do we say? Last of Us.
Yeah, Last of Us as well.
Yeah, those are all console sellers. Don't
Yeah,
cry
and
though,
an
Eric.
important thing to note too is Sony Interactive is the actual publisher for God of War.
Yeah,
I don't know if they are for Horizon Zero Dawn. Do you know
they
that?
are.
They are.
They are
Oh,
because it
okay.
is the studio. I can't remember it off the top of my
Like
head for
Santa
some
Monica
reason.
Studio.
It might
I know
be,
that's
but
who
the
it is for
studio
God of War.
behind no, that's not Santa Monica. The studio behind Horizon is actually the same studio that used to do Killzone. So it's a
Oh, okay. So it's very entrenched in Sony.
yeah. You're right. I don't know if it's owned by if the studio themselves are owned by them, but they've always done exclusives. So that's interesting. We'll have that for you in the
Guerrilla
next show, maybe.
Games. Yeah,
Gorilla.
that's
There you go.
yep, that's who it is. I knew it. I just couldn't think of
Yeah,
one. But yeah.
good
Uh
stuff. So we get to talk about some new games now.
yeah, let's talk about some new games. Do.
Good stuff.
What's on your
So
radar?
on my radar this week, so I always for my radar usually is something that's either going to be on the news or something I see in my discovery queue. And this one came on my Steam discovery. Really
Okay.
fucking swipe right past anything that's an open world game, anything that's or anything that's an open world, anything that's survival, anything that's MMO. I swipe right past it. But something about this one caught my eye because I was like, man, the quality actually looks good. So I looked into it and the comment, obviously you can see they're overwhelmingly positive reviews. I was like, okay, something's up here. This is getting a little weird. It's open world. It's on Steam. I've never heard of it. What the hell's going on? So I look into it, and it's just a game that I think the subject matter is probably hard for some people to digest,
Mm-hmm.
and it probably doesn't appear to be very mainstream. But fucking the mechanics that they're describing that the game has are incredible. Obviously, you see they've got this combat from being on horseback and all that.
I
So
mean, it's
it's
pretty
got the
smooth looking.
yeah, it's a good looking game. They said there's some rough patches, but they said overall it's a very good looking game. But that's just the surface of it. So you play as, a Native American and you're working against time, not like an actual counter, like not something saying 30 days, but what's happening is that around your settlement or your area are the new, what, I don't know if they're Spaniards or whatever, but whoever was coming in to
Mm-hmm.
first had
The
the contact with,
Europeans.
yeah, Europeans, Spaniards, all those good guys. So they're coming in and your objective is you have to fight off their forces. You have your small village, and then around you these camps are being put up, and it's up to you. This They said that it's a lot like Risk. They were like, take Sniper Elite Force 4, which is a game where you scope out your scene of attack before you actually go in,
Mm-hmm.
and do the mission. I talked about that with like Metal Gear 4. So they said combine that with a game of Risk because you've got that level of combat, but then you've also got the strategic thing of, okay, well, how am I going to stop these guys? Do I take the few people that I have in my village and go straight into their campsite and try to kill them off? Or do I try to cut off their food supply here? Do we just try to recruit and build up our army bigger than theirs in the background? So there's all these different ways that you tackle it. And the main objective is just to stay alive and, push these Europeans out of your homeland, basically.
Now, I actually I wonder how like much time span it is because in early and I'm just now noticing this as I'm going through the pictures. In earlier screenshots, there's definitely like this guy who's definitely a settler. So this is, after we've separated from Europe in terms of history. So this is a settler who's probably heading west, that type of deal, like a gold rush type situation. And then here we definitely have like a Union Army person. So I wonder if like what the time span is that this is going to go over. Because I mean,
Yeah,
obviously I mean, most of us who paid attention in history class, we know and understand that the impact that we had on the Native American community was one that was spread over significant amount of years, from the first boat landing all the way to like, I mean, basically today. Um, so I wonder what if there is a specific time and story that it's trying to tell, what that is.
yeah, possibly. Um, if I find out, I'll let you know. This one isn't going to be an immediate purchase for me. I think if you scroll down, the price is what, $40 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one I put on my wish list. I'm going to wait for a sale. Eric in chat said that it's a good game, which I trust him, but no matter what, it doesn't look like it's a $40 worth of a game to me. Like, polish is definitely there and everything, but I just know from these kind of early access experiments that I don't want to get in at full price. I want to get in at a lower price than that, just because you don't get as much of game. Like you might get a very good game,
Mm-hmm.
with those mechanics, but you're not going to get a lot of game. Like that's usually the way that these early access kind of community, small developer type projects go. Like they either are stretched very wide and the quality of the content is very little, or it's condensed and the quality is very high. But so I think they're probably on that other end of it where just based off what I'm seeing in the reviews, like they're probably the content there is good, but there's probably just not a ton of it.
What other games? So this is made by Game Labs. So
Oh, American
I'm
Civil
not
War is very
familiar.
popular.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I've heard
I've
of.
seen some people play that on Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah, Ultimate General I haven't heard of, but yeah, American Civil War is very popular. I've seen a lot of people playing that as
And
well.
I do know
So
that from I didn't okay, so this is good because I didn't know that they were the same people, but I do
yeah,
know that Ultimate General Civil War is very time accurate and
yeah,
time
and they've got
appropriate.
a very
So they've got a
strategic
good
gameplay as
history.
well.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
They have a good history.
so
It's interesting. I like that they're taking the other side of the story here.
Yeah.
Because you don't really, I mean, in all the action that I've seen in these two games at least, I haven't seen this one played at all.
Yeah.
It's definitely a one-sided story that they're telling. So it's nice to see them go to the other side. I don't know if that, you know, gives them the ability to command a $40 price right off the bat. Because like you said, early access game, I mean, it's definitely something that causes hesitation for both of us for very similar reasons. And we've talked about this with Valheim being early access. Valheim feels so polished and so good, and it's so successful that it our genuine fear is that it will fail because of too much success. It will not continue development because they're just, you know, and it happens. We see it happen all the time on Steam where these games come out in early access because they need the money to continue development. And they're good games at the time, but they just, you know, someone decides that they don't want to continue. They're like, hey, you know what? We made enough money on this. Let's move on to the next project. And it just stays in early access for the rest of its life.
In chat, Eric asked, "Have we tried Escape from Tarkov and also the survival game The Long Dark?" I have played The Long Dark. I actually hate survival games though, so I'll
Mm-hmm.
keep my opinion there very brief. It was good, but just not up my alley. Escape from Tarkov, too sweaty for me. I'm not a I like to play games for fun, and Escape from Tarkov is just one of those games. I hate this about like a lot of the battle royale games too, where
Yeah.
you run around doing a bunch of collecting and shit for an hour, and then you just kind of get janked from one guy from across the street who you never even saw was there, and you just play for an hour, pick up shit off the ground.
For
So
doing nothing.
yeah, so not up my alley, but credit to people who love it. Like I think that's just and I'll let Jordan answer this as well if he's played either of those. But for me, I think Escape from Tarkov is just one of those things where you kind of you dedicate your time to it, and that's your game. You know, it's like Arma, some of these guys who are competitive on Rainbow Six Siege, that kind of shit. Like, that's my game. That's all I play. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely with Escape from Tarkov. Uh, I remember watching a couple of videos for it and just going, man, it checks a lot of the boxes that I like to see in games, but there's, I don't know, there was just something about it that was like, I'm going to pass on this. I don't know why, really. I don't know how to put that in words, but I'm going to pass on this game, and I'm probably going to be the better for it. So spend my time on some other games where I can't have actual fun without the need for sweating too much because of
Yeah.
gameplay. For Long Dark, I have not played that myself, but I have watched a couple of playthroughs on it. It's interesting. For me, it takes too much time. I like survival games, but I don't like survival games that take an overwhelming amount of time to do anything. Uh, and the building system is a huge turnoff for me. I like base building. I don't like that game's base building. Let's see. Eric actually tossed in another question. Thanks for that. If you play games for fun, you need to try World of Tanks. I played that game for 8 years. Oof.
Yeah, I heard a lot about it. Jay from Jay's Two Cent, he was a big World of Tanks fan. Also, there's another one, I guess, like this ship game, but he's a big fan of those games.
Yeah, I think it's just World of Ships. Yeah.
Yeah, not for me, man. Too much spin. I played, and it's why I've always just like mobile games and stuff like that, like those little games. Is
The
that they usually
gotchas.
have. Yeah, they get you so bad on it. Like I got hooked on Marvel Strike Force for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Oof. Yeah, it's like
I got kind of addicted to that one, actually.
yeah,
I had an Android DOS box running on my PC, and I had like an entire raid team that was just me.
Yeah. So you either put a lot of time in or you put a lot of money in. That's
Right.
how those work, and I don't have too much of either. But enough about This Land Is My Land. What'd you find this week?
All right. So my game that's on my radar this week comes from a viewer and close friend of ours, Tom.
Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy, called Century Age of Ashes. And
Thomas the Greek, are you is he in chat today?
all right, yeah,
Thomas
are you in
the Greek?
chat? I think he meant, yeah, he talked earlier. He should be.
Yeah, Tom the Greek 34.
Yep, he's there. We'll see if he's watching or not sooner or later, I'm sure. But he described this as being Daenerys and just ripping through areas with dragon powers. And at first I laughed it off, but then he sent us a video that someone did on TikTok, and yeah, I mean it's dog fighting with dragons, and I'm kind of about that. I mean, I've said it before on here that I'm definitely a a fighter pilot type, you know, sim game.
Oh my
That's
god.
that's my stuff, but I don't.
They're letting out toxic farts. Is that like their smoke bomb?
Yeah,
What the
I don't
hell?
know what that one was, but
Oh jeez.
yeah, it's free to play. So I mean,
Phoenix, wow.
the worst it costs is a couple of hours of my time.
Let's
And
play. I'm down.
let's play. You want to play like tomorrow or something, or after stream?
Oh,
I'm
we're
down.
playing not tonight, but tomorrow, sure.
All right, cool.
Tom, you gotta play too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm down.
load it up, Tom. We'll hit you up.
It looks cool. It reminds me of this. You probably remember. There's this exclusive for PlayStation 3 that when the PS3 originally came out, and took advantage of the controller.
Hmm.
Kind of. I forgot what it was called, but there
Was
was
it
some dragon.
Panzer Dragoon? No, that
I
was
don't
the
remember the
Xbox
name.
exclusive. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it, but it was a decent game. I always like when I first got VR, I was looking for a dragon flying game. I couldn't find a good one. I found one that made me sick, but I couldn't find a good one.
Oh
But
yeah. Oh, I wonder
this
if this
one,
is VR. That'd be dope.
yeah, yeah,
It's not.
probably not. Yeah, it's very hard to get VR right on something doing that crazy shit, flipping you upside down and all that. But um, yeah, I'm down for it. I'll like I said, if it's free to play, I'll play with you guys.
Yeah. So for anyone that's looking to play, uh, from a video that Tom sent us earlier, you do have to request access to the playtest, but the turnaround time is like an hour maybe, and they just give you a key and instructions on how to put that key into Steam. So I'll probably put my request in tonight, and then tomorrow we should be golden to get some dragon flight time in. I don't know.
No,
It looks fun, especially if it has like a good community behind it. I'm not too familiar with the different game modes, but it definitely looked like there was a combat driven mode, and then some type of like at the very end there was some type of like not really racing, but almost kind of mode. So I don't know. That'd be interesting. I'm down to try it. I'm down to give it some time this week.
good stuff. Good stuff.
So let's see here. That's all we had on our radar. So why don't you tell us about what you played last week, Steve?
Yeah, so I left that section blank in our show notes. I didn't get to play shit last week. I've been modding so much in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I know you guys are tired of hearing about it, so I'm not gonna spend
I'm never
more
tired
than
of hearing of that. I love that.
well, I'm tired of talking about it. I'm not
Okay.
gonna spend more than 2 minutes on it whatsoever. It's been going good, man. Like a lot of people liked our most recent update. We hit 30,000 downloads. We're the number one aircraft download right now on the biggest download website for flight simulators. So we're feeling good. Trying to close out over the next couple of weeks, and then we're going to make an announcement for our next project. But haven't been able to play a lot.
Any
What I've really
teases
been
about
doing.
your next project?
This another helicopter.
That's
That's the biggest
the
tease I
tease.
can make. Yeah, we don't. So I work with a team now, so I don't want
Hmm.
to speak on behalf of them because we've
Right.
probably kicked around like 3 or 4 different models that we want to do. And then there's some stuff we could work on and get out very quickly, like we did this one in under a month. And then there's some stuff that might take a little longer than that.
Right.
But I mean, it's all going good. I love it. Like the scene is good. We built up a nice community over in our Discord. Me and Archie, we have a Discord community for the MidLyfe gamers. So we've got the Media Hype Train kind of brand there doing the flight sim thing, and then we've got this guy Archie for all his stuff that he does and our
Hmm.
weekly podcasts. Find us all in one place. It looks to be the thing I wanted to happen is starting to happen. We're starting to see some crossover. People from the flight sim side coming in and checking out. Like Eric today. So hey, Eric, nice to see you.
Yep. Nice to
One
see you.
day, one day I might even get these guys to check out some flight sim stuff. But me and Archie, we do have a plan. So not directly related to flight sim. We have some
Hmm.
secret Star Citizen fans and Elite Dangerous fans in the Discord too that have kind of been a little more quiet as flight sim stuff's kind of taken over. But even before the flight sim stuff, we still had like 500 members in the Discord, so there's still some people there. But me and Archie are going to do a co-stream one of these days, and I'm going to take them out to see what Elite's all about. hopefully after this next update comes out.
And it'll
So
be great for beginners to watch. And we're going to stream it and record it. It's going to be
it's gonna be cool,
I
man.
don't think we really have plans, but I don't it you can put it on your YouTube if you
Yeah.
want, Steve. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the only thing we're waiting on right now is for them to say when the hell they're doing it. So
Yeah.
I won't make you wait for the alpha. I'll play the alpha, get accustomed to everything, and then when they actually do the public launch, I'll be like, hey Archie, let's go ahead and pop in here now. I can tell you stuff, but I'm rich in that game. I've got every ship there is. The only thing I don't have is the fleet carrier. So they have what they have, Archie. You have these huge ships already that are like the size of cruise ships, really,
Right.
if not bigger. But they also have fleet carriers now, so you can have like 30 or 50 ships on a fleet carrier, and those do these huge jumps across the galaxy. Like they could do a half a galaxy jump or something like that. So those are cool, but you have to pay like a weekly maintenance fee and all that. And I want to keep my bank account where it is, so I just left all my credits there, and I just pop in whenever I want to play. But I keep my ship docked on somebody else's fleet carrier, so as they bounce around, I'm always where the action is whenever I log in. So I
Right.
just got to make sure I get docked back before they take off. So yeah, man, there's a real cool system in there. I don't even know how the hell we got on that. You're asking what I played, not flight sim, or I didn't play anything, just a lot of flight sim.
Yeah, and so anybody that's going to watch it is definitely going to see a very beginner's approach to entering this world. Because I mean, I'll be honest, I've played a lot of not the current flight sim, the last one. I think it was like Flight Simulator X or
1992.
something. It was literally the version that came with Windows Vista on some PCs. That was the version that I played a ton of, and so I do have a little bit of experience. But like even for me, looking at that type of like space sim world is a little daunting. So anybody that's going to be watching is going to see how it feels to be a beginner, and I think it's going to be a great time. So
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
we'll definitely let y'all know more about that as we figure more out about when the game's going to be public. The alpha becomes
Yeah,
public.
good shit. So that's all I did last week. Tell me, I know I've seen you in chat a couple of nights last week down there with our other buddies from the VIP club, playing in Valheim. So what were you guys up to? What are you guys building out over there?
So we do. I don't know if I brought this up before, but I was able to build a dedicated server, and by build I mean blew the dust off of an old Surface laptop, and install the server client. That was the extent of doing that, but it was a little bit powerful. It just has a busted screen, so I figured it's a good use. It's like sitting over here, right next to the Wi-Fi box, because Surfaces don't have Ethernet jacks, so it just has to
Yeah,
sit right next to it to make sure everyone has a good connection. But we've been playing on that world, and it's been a learning experience because sometimes the world persists without you, sometimes it doesn't. So it's just been a week full of different discoveries. And really, sometimes in chat, Badfish, he and I played a lot, and we normally focus on the building. So we have like this entire, like Midgard space that we've called it. I think you donned it that name, Midgard.
yeah.
Um, and we've been building it up. It's got a lot of cool features. We have like a boathouse that we built and everything. I wish I had brought photos along for the stream, because I do have several screenshots and whatnot. Maybe next
Keep
week.
saying we gotta do a tour, and you need to use Steam screenshots, brother. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's good.
Give
That's a
the
good point. I don't know if
it
that game
is.
actually supports Steam's
It
overlay though,
does.
because
It
I've
does.
tried popping it up sometimes, and it might just be a me thing.
Maybe
I
maybe not
think
the overlay, but it does support screenshots because I've taken
you've seen them. Okay, cool.
I've
Yeah,
taken one, exactly
yeah.
one.
Just one
They
exactly.
I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't played the game yet, but I think they have a pretty epic like first spawn in. So I took
Hmm.
a couple screenshots of that.
Yeah, it's a fun game. I still recommend it. I know its player base is starting to kind of dip off, and I'm seeing that in our server as well. But it's a game that has a ton of replayability. I just got our server turned over to a very popular mod called Valheim Plus, which allows for a lot more server side control of things to make the
Oh,
game
cool.
way less grindy. Like one of the big things is that you can't take metal through teleporters. I said bump that. You can take metal through
Oh,
teleporters
okay.
now on our server. Um,
Gotcha.
and it's going to be It's gonna be fun. I'm probably gonna put a little bit more time into building out that village so that we can take like legitimate screenshots. Badfish and I have a lot of plans that we want to do, and once we get a little bit more progress down that road, I think we're going to do a video tour, maybe on stream. Maybe we record it and then talk about it on stream. I haven't decided, but we'll bring it to y'all. It'll be brought.
So, good. Yeah, so looking forward to that. So let's talk about what's coming up this week. I put in the show notes just a little game called Space Crew. So it's currently on sale. It actually came out last year, but it's on sale now for $12.99, down from $20. It's from the makers of Bomber Crew, so that's what I'm going to be playing. It's a simulation game, a lot like FTL. If you've ever played that, you've got a crew of people that you're managing. This is one of those permadeath games, so if you lose one of your favorite crew members, they're gone forever.
Oh, like XCOM style.
Yeah, so I really like that mechanic, and it's a space game. I'm a space fan. It's $12, so I put this. It's actually, I got a couple other things I want to scope out buying this week, so I put that in my cart already. Looking to.
Oh, so it's like a real time, like a real time strategy almost.
Yeah, it's good, man. It looks So I saw Bomber Crew. I've never played Bomber Crew, but I've seen a lot of gameplay of it, and Bomber Crew looks good. But this is more up my alley. I just like the sci-fi and the space theme of it, and the layout. So obviously, you could tell it's going to be not a very resource-heavy game. So my plan is to put this up on a second screen while I'm doing other work, that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, it looks interesting. Looks interesting.
My buddy Eric in chat just said, flying from Saint Martin to Santo Domingo in the Piper. Piper's a plane I reviewed over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/media hype train. I might hop in there with you after the podcast, buddy.
Is this oh no, okay, no. So I saw the little VR headset there. I thought that there was some VR control you could do in Space Crew.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool. But it doesn't seem to have that support in here. Yeah. Oh, it's only a $13 game. That's not bad for a little pick-me-up game. A little pick-me-up title.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was saying about I wait for those games to go on sale, like when I can tell that there's not a shit ton of content there. But I mean, $13 is about the cost of a movie. The movie's going to be 2 hours of entertainment. I should probably definitely get more than 2 hours out of this game. So, but what do you got this week? I saw you had in the notes 2 games we already talked about, really, Outriders and Century. So you're gonna definitely get those downloaded this week and play them.
Yeah, I absolutely want to give some time to Outriders, and that will probably get downloaded tomorrow while I'm waiting for the approval for Century, and that way I can give a better, I don't know, overview, because it's still changing. So I didn't want to spend too much time in their demo, and then the game launches and everything I say about it is wrong. So wanted to give it a little bit more time, but yeah, I'm probably gonna spend some time on this. And then whenever you and Thomas get the Century title, approved and downloaded, then I definitely want to put some time into that.
Good stuff, brother.
That and some building in Valheim if Fish gets on.
Alrighty, so we covered all the news for the week. We covered what's on our radar and what we are playing. So now it's time for one of our favorite games, Video Game 20 Questions, where each week one of the hosts challenges the other host to guess a game in 20 questions or less. The score right now has not been good. I have yet to actually be able to guess a single game. We're on episode 7. We started this at episode 3.
3, yep.
So
and I only got 1.
Yeah, so far Archie has gotten 1 out of 2, right?
I think so, yeah. Right. Today will be 3.
Yep. Oh, so you're confident that you're getting it today?
No, today will be the 3rd one. I'll have 1 out of 3 after today.
1 out of 3. Okay, so he's not confident. But all right, man. I've got the game in mind. Ready when you are.
All right, let's kick it off. Is this I don't know what first question. Is this an action title?
In the sense of like an action adventure game?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So it is an action adventure. Did this game come out before 2015?
Yes.
I don't know why I like that year. It's for whatever reason it's a very decisive year on gaming.
It is. 2015 was what, a year after the Xbox One came out?
I
Maybe.
think so. Yeah.
So you can kind of figure out,
Kind of
okay, is this
judge.
gen versus, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
See, so action adventure came out.
You said, did it
before.
come out before 2015 or after?
I asked if it came out before 2015.
Okay, so yes. Wait, you said 2015 though.
Yes.
So yes, it came out before 2015. Sorry.
Before 2015. All right. Before 2015. That's 2 questions. Okay, so it's an action RPG. Came out before 2015.
Whoop. Hold up. I didn't say
Not RPG. Sorry. Yep, that was my bad. It's an
And I'll give
action
you
adventure.
on this one too, just because it is an action adventure game, but I can see how there's another broad category that people might try to throw it in. So I would say, when I say it's an action adventure game, it is not a FPS game, it's not a sports game, it's not a hard RPG, it's not a racing game. So think of action adventure and think about that kind of stuff.
Okay. Let's see. So was it on the PlayStation 3?
Yes.
Yes, on PlayStation 3. Was it exclusive to Sony?
This baby has been released on quite a few things.
Quite a few things.
Not exclusive to console or PC, I will tell you.
Okay. Is this a series? Is this like one of a series?
It is not a series in terms of like this game 1, this game 2, but there have been multiple games in this franchise.
The franchise, okay.
Or that I would say have used this franchise.
Oh, have used that franchise. Okay. That's a very particular set of words.
Bomberman 64. Ding, 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 ding.
That's it. Damn. Okay, so that's 5 questions. So I just got to keep pumping out questions. It'll probably become clear. So it's an extensive game, action adventure, not a shooter or sports title.
No, you may shoot. You just don't exclusively. It's not a pew 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 game.
Is it third person?
If I'm correct, you have multiple views that you can have. Let me confirm that. It is a first person game.
Like exclusively first person game?
From the player's viewpoint, yes, you are always exclusively first person. There may be times where it cuts out to show more like cinematographic type, but exclusively first person. Yeah, is the way it's intended to be played.
Man, so it's been on several consoles. It's part of a franchise, but not part of a series. It's an adventure title, an action adventure title.
And I really don't want you to get too hung up on the action adventure. Just
right. Well, let me use the question to let me use questions to narrow it down. Then, is it a? You said it's not strictly a shooter, but obviously there are guns involved.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll use that one. So there are guns involved. You can shoot. You don't have to. Is this a survival game?
Yes.
Oh.
It is intended. That is one of the broad genres that it could be thrown into, is a survival game.
Oh man. This isn't Rust, is it?
No.
No, okay. I'm burning the question for that, but I just had to make sure that I had to get that out of the way.
Yeah. Far away from Rust.
Far away from Rust. Okay.
Far away from Rust. Not survival in that sense.
Man, this is difficult, man. Every week we do this, and it's like, man, this is hard.
Well, we're gonna get better over time though, because we've already.
I hope so. Yeah. Once we pick every single game out there, yeah, we might get better. So Jesus. Okay. So you said that it's been on several things. It's not exclusive to anything. So is this an open world game? It's a survival, but is it open world as well?
It is open world in that the player has the opportunity to do things as they please around the world. It's not open world like a Grand Theft Auto or Breath of the Wild, as you may think. And
Right.
then also there's a little bit, this is definitely a big clue. There's a little bit of there's things in the game, like if you think like Metrovania type style shit that would keep you from getting to certain areas at certain points without completing
Mm.
other stuff. But
Okay.
but it
Okay.
is open world in that there's a term for that I can't think of right now. It's quasi open world, and that you do have the choice of, oh, I'm going to go explore this area now, or now go look at this area. Yeah.
Hmm.
Your best question so far has been about survival. If you think about survival more, that'll probably get you there.
About survival, man. Survival games weren't really a big deal around that
That's why
time.
it's better for you because
It should
it's a
be, right? It
smaller
should be.
it's a smaller genre.
Not Rust.
Come on, chat. You got any hints for him?
Yeah, chat. Just keep chucking titles out there, Tom.
Yeah, and I'll just laugh through all of them. Pokemon
All right.
Yellow.
So that's 10 questions that I've asked so far. I think that's what I've written down at least.
I trust your number.
Is it damn a survival game? I feel like I just have to start naming them off then. God, I know that Resident Evil. No, it's not Resident Evil, is it? You said it's not a series game, so
It's not Resident Evil, but Resident Evil is actually very close to what it is.
oh,
In terms of the gameplay, that's like pretty much nail on the hammer because they both do that type of survival where you're doing puzzles and shit to get through the area. That's why I said it's quasi open world. So it's actually a very good guess.
damn. Okay, so it's not Resident Evil, but it's part of a It's part of a franchise, but not part of a series. I think I'm getting way too.
Oregon Trail. Yeah. So
the Oregon
remember
Trail.
specifically what I said about franchise. I said it is a franchise that's been used a lot in a lot of games.
But not a series though. But it's a survival title. That's kind of like Resident Evil, but isn't Resident Evil. Man, I
like
don't.
this one a lot.
God, I'm gonna kick myself once you say this. Just like Diddy Kong Racing, 2
I
episodes
picked a
ago.
hard one this week.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better. Not much, but a little bit.
Not impossible because I've personally talked about it a lot. Even in this episode, I've talked about it.
No. Oh man, I hate. See, that's something that we've been like sneakily doing without telling each other is like dropping hints inside the episode.
The thing is, I didn't even do it sneakily this time. I had the game picked out, and we talked about something else that just I went off topic into it. I'll tell you afterwards. Well, after you guess, I think you're gonna get it. Keep thinking survival. Keep thinking Resident Evil.
Off topic into it.
You're getting close.
Resident Evil.
Nobody replay it either. Somebody's in there right now scrubbing backwards.
Trying to make a clip about it right now. Damn it. Okay. Not Resident Evil, but it's like Resident Evil. It's not Left 4 Dead, is it? No,
Nope.
That's definitely a series.
Is it a Star Wars game? Nope.
Oh, you know, I'll add that as one of my questions, Tom.
But Tom is getting close again, though.
What? A Star Wars type game? That's also a Resident Evil type game?
No, it's not that it's like Star Wars. There's something about Star Wars specifically that well, not even specifically, but just something about that's a little closer.
Is it similar to like a Battlefront title for Star Wars?
Is that a question?
Yes.
Is it similar to like a Battlefront title for Star Wars? Clarify what you mean by that.
Like there's man, I don't even know what I'm asking anymore. Like so there's several player characters versus a world. PvE kind of.
Nope, you wasted a question.
Yep.
I'm kidding. Good question. Good question. That Star Wars connection later, you're like, I get it.
Oh, okay. Is that the? Oh man, so that's probably the Star. Oh, Star Wars hasn't done any like weird survival Resident Evil style games. Is it
But what has Star Wars done though with their games? I'm not gonna give you the answer, but
just
there's
yeeted
something.
them right into the dumpster? Uh, that's what they tend to do.
I won't take you too off trail though.
Is is this a Lego game?
No,
No, okay. I
that's
was
12.
expecting some type of well, oh no, I'm at 14 now.
Oh really? Oh shit,
Yeah.
I missed two then.
Well, I added
Okay.
some of Thomas's questions in as my own because I would have asked
Oh,
them probably.
you're nice.
Um, let's see. Man, it's not a. Is it a Silent Hill title?
Nope.
No, that's 15. Man, I'm running out of questions real quick. Um, is it a? Jeez, survival kind of.
Franchise that's
is
been
this
used for a lot
DayZ?
of games. Nope.
No, not DayZ. Is this well you said it's hard. No, you didn't talk about H1Z1.
How
Damn
many
it.
is that?
That is 16 questions.
16.
So let's see. You said you talked about it earlier. I know exactly what part in the show you're talking about.
I don't think you do, because you're talking about DayZ.
No, no. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to narrow things down now.
It was a very quick reference too, so I don't think that might have not even been such a big help.
Let's see.
A franchise that's been used across a lot of games.
Man. Franchise that's been used across a lot of games. It's not. I mean, Thomas says Siege. It's not a Tom Clancy game, is it? No.
Nope, but that's another good guess though. Like there is a common trend between Star Wars and Tom Clancy that could help you get to this answer.
Wait. So it's first person, slightly like Resident Evil, somehow similar to Siege.
I think that I've given you too many hints, so now you're like
it's all
that drawstring thing. Like,
I'm gonna load up that GIF for next episode and just keep playing it every time. Every time a question's asked, just
that's funny. Yeah, I think that's definitely what happened. I gave you too many hints. And now you're like,
I don't know.
it's a first-person Tom Clancy game with Pikachu as a sidekick.
Yes.
Not on the Nintendo 64.
Horizons, Pokemon Lost.
Horizons is another hint. You're getting closer.
Let's see.
How many questions?
That is I'm at 15, 17 right now.
Bring it home. You could do it.
Man. Damn, it always gets so difficult at the end too. You're like, I have more information than when I started.
Is Archie in the chat?
Yeah, she's in there.
Yeah.
She's the one that recommended Oregon Trail. Man. I don't know. I just gotta start guessing things. Action adventure, first person survival game. It's not DayZ. Is it Arma?
Nope.
No. Damn it. All right, I'm just gonna start.
Too wide now.
I'm just gonna.
God of War, yes, the survival game. God of
War. the first person Resident Evil. Well, I guess it kind of is Resident Evil, like in terms of like puzzles and whatnot. Sometimes.
You got 2 to bring it home, buddy. I can see you doing it.
2 to bring it home. Damn, I cannot for the life of me think of another like road to go down. I'm just gonna start guessing titles. I only have 2 questions left. This isn't like EVE Online.
Oh no.
No, I didn't think so.
Too wide.
That's way
no online player whatsoever.
None.
Yeah, straight up single player, survival, quasi open world game, played from first person view. Has some similarities to games like Star Wars, or I should say not similarities, but something in common with a game like Star Wars and There's a second one that got thrown out. I don't see it anymore. Where is it?
Bomberman 64.
Oh no, it was actually one that you said, but I can't remember what
Oh
you said now.
yeah. Um.
I'll give you this hint because you're
Oh,
two away.
okay.
It's a licensed game, so that's why I keep saying it's a franchise that's been used across a lot of games. It's a licensed game.
That doesn't help me. I don't know what that means.
That means it's
I'm
an
too smooth
IP.
brain for this.
It's an IP like Marvel's Avengers,
Right,
something
right,
like
right,
that
right.
they made a game of. So that's why I said there's a little Star Wars in it because you got the Star Wars license and they made a ton of games. Oh, it's Tom Clancy, you said,
Oh, Tom Clancy.
which
Okay.
is a good example. A lot of different games across the franchise. So this is another hit. This is a game and that's from an IP been used across a lot of different types of game styles though.
But
And
it's
this one
not
was
part
their
of a
particular,
series.
yeah, so it's the franchise has been used a lot. And this particular outing was their take on survival.
And it wasn't H1Z1. We didn't even talk about that game, as no one should. A terrible title. Damn it. I can't.
Some cue the Jeopardy music,
Yeah,
guys.
do. Don't. We'll get copywritten. Okay. I'm just gonna throw something else out there. Damn, it's not Rust. I don't know. Is it Rage?
Nope.
No.
One more?
No, that was it. That was the 20th question.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
The game is Alien Isolation.
Oh.
First person survival horror game. The connection with Resident Evil being same type of gameplay. You're moving through this confined area that is open world, but you've got to do a lot of tracking like that,
Backpedaling,
Metroidvania, get this thing, bring it over there.
Oh man, that was a hard one. Yeah, that was a good one, but yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and that one we talked about earlier because I was saying why I believe that they allowed Horizons to come out on multiple platforms. A little bit of that just being they didn't have a lot of confidence up front that it was going to be as successful as it was just because I had female lead.
Yeah, that was
very
good pick.
I picked this one because we talked about it actually last week too. It's just one of those games that flies under the radar a lot. Like it is one of my favorite games of all time, but a lot of people have never even tried it.
Does that have official VR support on PC?
No, it has Vorpix, which is this weird program that yeah, and I played it and it literally like it made me a couple minutes of it. I wish I could, but honestly, it's great just like single player on a controller. Like the graphics still hold up.
Yes.
I played it on console back in the day and it's on PC now. And I looked at, or it's always been on PC. It came out originally 2014. That's why it appeared on so many consoles. It was PC, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, PS4. That's why it appeared all over the place. But it looks great on the PC one.
He's GoldenEye 64. Oh yeah, that was a good game.
There's a world where I would not get GoldenEye 64 because I was a bigger fan of Perfect Dark. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was not introduced to Perfect Dark until Perfect Dark Zero, which I had bought with my 360 on day one.
Yeah, you didn't get the good experience with. No. Hopefully you went back and played the original at some point.
No, actually I haven't because I was so kind of like turned off by that game. Yeah. And not because it was bad. It was just like, I don't know. It was trying to be way too many things.
Yeah. I'm remembering correctly. Didn't they announce that's coming back now?
I think so. I think that's one of the...
Not a remake, but a reboot.
I think that was actually in one of the news articles about E3. What games are we expecting at E3 2021? Perfect Dark's at one of the top of the list. Which is weird because it's still a Rare title, isn't it?
Yeah, so Rare developed the original Perfect Dark. They actually developed the original GoldenEye, and then Perfect Dark came out like a year or two later with the expansion pack, and did everything that GoldenEye did, but better. Like the big thing about Perfect Dark for me was that you had complete customization over everything. Like we used to run, it's all local multiplayer, but we run bot rooms with like, okay, these are all master skill bots. They're, they've got guns that can see through walls and shit. Like it was a fun time, but this new one, it looks like they're trying to go triple A quality with it. They want to make probably like a rival to. They want to make an action adventure game. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. And it's perfect for her because she was a espionage agent.
Yeah.
So she.
I think that's one of the reasons why I kind of didn't like the 360 one, because it definitely presented itself, and even within game presented itself as this like stealth title, which
Yeah.
I was about. And then you get in there, and I mean, the stealth system was garbage. It felt
Yeah.
like they were trying to turn it into like a weird Halo, because we didn't have Halo yet on the 360. So it was
Yeah.
just I don't
It
know.
needed more time in the
Them.
oven.
Yeah,
Because the
absolutely.
original, that was like one of the hallmark things of the original Perfect Dark was, and it's crazy that they did this so long ago, but they had that gameplay system where, hey, you beat a level this way, you get this type of medal. Hey, you beat it going all guns blazing, you get this type of medal. You unlock this type of thing. So they've always done that multiple choice kind of approach. Like, it's crazy when I kind of think about it. And I'm like, oh man, there were like the missions would play out in real time different based off what happened during it. Like if you happen to kill this person versus save them. So it was a good game, man. I hope for success. Like I have really
Yeah,
enjoyed the female led like games recently. Like I'm not one of those. I'm not a person who's all about the social justice. Like I respect all of it, but I don't
yeah, yeah,
push it on people. I don't try to push it into games. But it's been refreshing because they offer a completely different experience. The way
yeah. And
games are
it's a
usually
different outlook and a different it's a different
yeah
mindset you can step into within an
yeah
already good story.
yeah. It's why the last Gears was so good because
Yeah,
there's a time where Gears was like a game I would never fucking touch. Like I loved Gears up until like Gears 2, kind of what I call my Mountain Dew years. You know, high school. You know, you come after school, you get your Mountain Dew, you got your Doritos, you play for hours until the end of the night.
that's good.
It
I'm
was
gonna
cool,
take
you
that.
know. Yeah, I call it because that's really what it was, man. It was my Mountain Dew years. But then you got to a certain point where you kind of outgrew like the type of characters that they
Right,
had there. It was all just big,
big
buff
old
dudes, and
meathead jocks type
yeah,
people. Yeah,
and the story was always good. They always had like that's the one thing on the surface it always looked bad Gears of War because it's like just that big beefhead jocks, but they had good stories there, like the friendship between Marcus and his teammates and shit. People who died in the game, like it was all there. But the last game, they gave you the choice of hey, you still got your meathead person, but now you have this female character too that just gives you a completely different dimension, you know. And usually, but I maybe it's sexist, maybe it's not, but they usually have like more complex gameplay too. Like it's not
yeah.
just hey, go in this room, pew pew something. It's like hey, you can go in here and hack, or you can go in here and you've got to figure out this puzzle to get through.
I mean,
Which I
it's target audiencing. I mean,
yeah.
that's
Well,
really
I'm the target
what it
audience. Damn
gets
it,
boiled down to.
because I tell you, Alien Isolation and Tomb Raider, some of the best games that have come out
I
in the
can't wait
past generation.
for the next Metroid, even though they
Yeah,
took it from
that's another one.
scratch. You know,
Oh man,
God,
and
that was months
Control,
ago.
man,
Yeah,
Control
and
2 is
Control. Yeah,
another one. Like just fucking great, great,
great
great, great.
titles, great titles.
Yep. But hey, that's all I got, man. That was a
Yep.
fun game. So there's still a chance for me to come back if I can win at least one
If you can
before
win at
you
least
take off.
one, we'll be tied. So it's
Yeah.
my week. So I mean, you've opened up, hard mode. So get ready.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, get ready. We unleashing some weird esoteric Japanese
Oh my
RPG
god.
that was never in America.
Oh man, I'll just
No,
give up.
no, I won't do that. That's a terrible idea. All right, cool. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us, hanging out with us in chat, just viewing us. Appreciate it. If you didn't catch the whole thing today, we will put it up on YouTube. It'll be on youtube.com. Just look for this guy Archie. You'll find it. They don't let me have a direct URL yet, so just hang on. I'll get there eventually. But if you follow me on Twitter, you'll have a link to it there as well, and you don't have to worry about it. So go ahead and throw us a follow, a like, a subscribe, or whatever those everything is that everybody says to do. Just go ahead and throw it in there. Steve just chucked in the link for our Discord. That's the easiest way to interact with us as a community too. All the stuff about Flight Sim is in there. All of our games, whenever we play Valheim, we're in the Viking Hall in one of the voice channels. It's a very active community. We all are respectful to one another. It's the opposite of toxic. Go in there, join it, have fun. Steve, you got anything else for everybody?
No, everyone, just take care. Wait, I do have one big thing.
Yes.
The Justice League Snyder Cut comes out this Thursday on HBO Max. So
Oh yeah,
you all
that's
should
right.
watch it. Yeah, you should definitely watch it. I would love we normally talk about straight games, but we'll love to see your thoughts on that. It's going to be a epic 4 hour adventure. I think they said the total runtime is like 4 hours and 3 minutes, and the
Good.
reviews have all been positive, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm okay with movies stretching past the hour and a half mark. Like that's a
Yeah, if I'm at
ridiculous
home,
thing. Yeah.
I could not do it in theater. Like I would absolutely be against it, but everyone's been saying they're like it. they said the only way this could have ever worked was at home because it couldn't be a movie because you can't cut it off abruptly. Purely
Right.
like it's not self-indulgent. They said it actually. They were like, wow, Zack Snyder actually could do character development. They said every character has like a cool backstory and shit, and they all have their epic moments, but it wouldn't have worked as a movie because nobody's going to sit down for 4 hours. But
I would.
yeah, I'd be interested to do a little deconstruction of that next week.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's do that. So everybody
Right.
come back next week. We'll talk about Justice League Snyder Cut.
Woo! I'm excited.
All right.
Take care.
Take care. Love y'all. Be safe.